My lords, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to Transport Fever 2. As we can see, we're currently hovering outside the small town of Chestermere, a town that's not really had much love and attention so far in the series. Obviously there is a lot to do on this map, so there are a few towns that have been criminally overlooked, and Chestermere is one of them. Now, what we are going to do today is show a bit of love to Chestermere, and we're going to set up another smallish local transport service for some of the other towns over here in Alberta. And the plan is it's going to run from Chestermere, and then we're going to have a station up here in Irricana, swing around to Airdrie, head up to Bottrel, and then I think we'll have a connection from Bottrel to Cochrane, so it's a point-to-point service there, almost as like a transfer service. Obviously, Cochrane being the start of the Rocky Mountain Railway, so that makes sense to have a direct connection to Cochrane. And I think what we'll also do is if we head over to our main station here in Calgary, I've started another branch from Calgary over the river, and it just disappears off into this tunnel and re-emerges out here. And this will either head to Airdrie or Irricana, and I'm thinking Airdrie, and we'll have a passenger hub in Airdrie, so we'll have a connection from Airdrie into Calgary. And obviously we'll also have the platforms that service the Chestermere, Irricana, Airdrie and Bottrel lines. So we'll make a start, and we'll start over here in Chestermere. It's one of the termination points for the service, although we're not going to use a terminus station for this. We will just use a regular pass-through station. So let's go ahead, get ourselves a train station, and we want a passenger station. I'll say we'll go for 3 tracks to start with. We want the high-speed tracks these days, obviously. And in terms of a suitable location for this, I'm going to say we have it over here just on the outskirts of the town. Although that does tend to lend the tracks to run straight into that wheat farm there, so maybe we'll just rearrange that a little bit. Perhaps if we have it a little more angled like that, so the tracks, if we do want to head them out in the future, there is a way for them to comfortably slip between the town of Chestermere and this farm just on the outskirts. Okay, so there's the station in Chestermere. For Irricana, I'm thinking of having it up here, and then obviously it would link into Chestermere, and then it would come down this way. This is the tracks now, obviously. Swing up and then head towards this hub that we want to set up in Airdrie. So let's get the station out here. This needs to be it doesn't need to be. It can be slightly smaller. And I dare say I might even start off with just a single track and platform. And again, have it just on the outskirts of town, but somewhere where it's easily connected. And it lends the track naturally to veer off in this direction. This is going to have a rather large viaduct out here, which I think will add a little bit of scenery to the town of Irricana out here, so I'm happy enough with that. Okay, now the big one, I think, Airdrie. So the tracks that I showed you previously are just here, as we can see. Now we are mindful at this point that we don't really want to be interfering with our freight line here with this passenger line. We don't want our two services conflicting and having to wait for clearance from one another. But we also want to be careful of where we place it, because we need to bring the track around from Irricana. So my initial thought is if we have it here, and we'll have it running this way, left to right as we're looking at the moment, then we can bend this track in quite naturally, and we can also bend around to Irricana as well. And it also leaves us pointing in the right direction out towards Bottrel. As we're discussing that, as we can see now, we've unlocked the Pioneer Zephyr, quite a famous and iconic train, so that will be one we certainly want to see service on the line, and in fact we may as well use it on this line that we're setting up right now. So, given that this is something of a hub station, we'll make it a little bit larger than the rest. We'll have 4 tracks, and as I said, if we have it running left to right as we look at it from our perspective, and we have it out here, perhaps just a little bit further that way, and then we can bend this road in to get the connection to the station at Airdrie. Now we need one over here in Bottrel. The terrain, as we can see, it's rather hilly and undulating out here, so we are going to have to play a little bit clever and a bit tactical as to where we put the station for Airdrie, sorry, Bottrel. And I think in this sort of area here, again, it doesn't really have to be the largest station out here. We'll just reduce the size and the track count. And where would be an ideal place? I think if we put it up on this hill there, that leads this track out towards Airdrie. Now this one to connect into Cochrane, we can see the termination point of the tracks waiting just here. It will have to bend fairly sharply, but it is what it is, and given the terrain constraints and what we've got to work with in terms of the topography and the landscape, I think we are going to have to compromise here and there, and I think that's what we've gone for there will be the best solution. So now we can start connecting all these together. So once again, we'll return to the start point of Chestermere, and we'll start bringing all of these tracks outwards, and as per usual, try and keep them as straight as we can initially, because then if we need to extend our platform lengths, we can do without having to rework our tracks out here. And now we can start moving them off in the direction we want them to go, and we'll go for as high a speed as possible throughout all of this. So there we go, there's been no speed reduction on that curve there, so we've got a nice smooth curve. This can now cross over and merge in. Obviously we are going to have to slow down at the junction here, so that's fair enough. And we'll have a crossing diamond there. That way all 3 platforms can be used by any service without too many complications. And from here on out, it's essentially a straight shot over towards this plateau here where we've situated our station at Irricana. So let's go ahead and upgrade any bridges that are being produced to the iron bridges to maintain as much speed as possible, like so. And in fact, I'm thinking for these 2 bridges here, attempt to pay the extra and go for the earthworks. That gives us higher speed, as we can see, 186. This one, I think we'll keep it as a viaduct, just to break it up a little bit. So that's good enough for me. And then we want to obviously twin it up all the way. Now, as we can see here, the station is angled slightly, so it's not good. We are going to have to bend off to the left and then back in to the right. So if we get that done as early as possible, we can get decent speeds on all of this. There we go, 186. And hopefully we've left ourselves enough room to bend the track back inwards to the station just there. Let's check that now. It's looking good. Okay, we do have a little speed reduction there, as we can see, but we're still very high speeds. Obviously that stone bridge is causing the slowdown. We are going to have to swap that out, and in fact, once again, why not just go for the earthworks to get as much speed as possible. That means our lowest speed throughout this entire run is this little section here of 176, which is still fast enough for our needs, so we'll accept that. And then we'll bring the track down. Now obviously this is only a single platform, so we are going to have to merge the tracks together. And we want to do that over a long distance, try and get as much speed out of this as possible. 100 miles an hour, I can live with that. I don't think any train upon departing the station here is going to hit 100 miles an hour by this point, so that's okay. So that's the first line laid down and connected. Now we can press on from Irricana over to the hub over in Airdrie. Now, as we said, we are going to have a viaduct out here. And that's going to add a nice little bit of scenery to all of this. Let's just stretch it out as much as we can. How does that look? I mean, it does look a little bit strange because you have the world void just behind it, but it's nice enough. So we'll take that. Again, we're going to want to have as high a speed here as possible. Although, as before, I am conscious that we don't have the train capability to hit these maximum speeds upon departing the station at this point, so it's largely irrelevant really, but it's still nice to keep it as smooth and free-flowing as possible. Now we need this to have a wide arc because it needs to bend around here, head up, and then bend back again. Now, given the fact we're going to have to bend quite sharply here, I think we're going to have to... What I might do is go for a big hit, sort of like this, where we drop a fair amount of speed. Say, if we can get, say, 60. So we'll have quite low speed, but over a short distance. And then we can keep this bit relatively straight and rebuild that speed once again. So we want to come out this way. Again, if we just swap that for earthworks to maintain as high a speed as possible without the unnecessary slowdown. Let's just have a look there how we're looking in terms of approaching the station. It needs to curve a touch more, I think. There we go, that's fine. Now we do have this road connection between Airdrie and Irricana that we're going to have to contend with. But I think what we'll do is we'll lay it down flat and straight. That's obviously going to initially produce that level crossing over this span of road here. And I do say initially because what we'll then do is rework this little bit of road and have it enter a tunnel underneath this track. Although there aren't many freight trucks heading out here, as we can see. We don't have many delivering into Airdrie. So I might just stick with the level crossing. It's not going to delay the trains, but it will obviously impact the traffic. But I'm not too concerned by that. So we'll keep it as we have it for now. And then in the future, if we want to, we can tunnel under the rail line instead. Moving on then, so we're now approaching our major, or what will become a semi-major at least, hub station here at Airdrie. Again, we have slowed down, but that's fine for the same reasons as previously discussed. So we'll just go with it. Now we want to connect all four of the platforms here. But I am also conscious that perhaps we'll have this, well, this will be heading off this way to meet into our tracks here. So I'll keep it straight for now. Are they level? I think they are. And then have it reach over like so. In fact, what we'll do is we'll have a very short and slow crossing there. That obviously opens up both of those platforms. And then over there like so. And then we're going to need the diamond switch out here. And we'll have this a little bit faster. Although it isn't the fastest possible, but it's fair and it's fine for our purposes. So if we just plan this through now, so if our trains are obviously right-hand drive, so we can definitely get into that platform. We can access that platform, and because of these two switches here, we can access platforms 3 and 4 as well. So that's what we need it to do. And coming out from the other way, the trains can use either of these two platforms. Sorry, I'm just thinking there. So yeah, coming in this way. So we don't have access to platforms 1 and 2 heading from the Calgary direction. Well, that's okay. In that case, we'll just have to make sure that platforms 3 and 4 are the ones for our connection service over to here. So let's now get that connected. Again, we'll take a relatively large hit with the speed early on, and then we have more space to run flat and straight and rebuild the speed over this relatively flat area here. So we'll start it from there like so. And then, in fact, I'm just thinking about, could we... So these are obviously right-hand drive once again. Can we have this crossover like that? Yes. And use that as a double slip switch? Yes. So that way, any trains coming from Calgary direction can now, because of the double slip switch, use platforms 1 and 2. And any trains leaving these platforms 1 and 2 can use this junction over here. And then after this little switch here, we'll put the diamond in. It's going to be a strange one on the corner, but it's fine. Again, speed isn't a pressing concern at that point. Now that should give us full access to all the platforms. It looks a bit strange with the crossing tracks in the middle there, but as long as it does what we need it to do, that's the main thing for now. Okay, now let's head up here, because we want to build this track from this direction, because we're elevated, I believe, and we also want to make sure we cross over our freight lines here without too much impact, or any impact if possible. So what we'll do, we'll actually start climbing just a fraction, like that. So the game still sees it within the flat gradient range, even though obviously it is climbing somewhat. And then we'll chance it from here, although I don't think we're going to be high enough to have a bridge. But we'll keep it climbing ever so slightly, and hopefully at this point we can now have the bridge. Yes, we can. And we'll have it stay dead flat and level here. We want the Ironworks bridge for the increased speed. There we go. And from then, we are going to have to bleed off quite a bit of elevation from this point to connect to the track. But we have a long distance to do it, so it shouldn't be too dramatic. Okay, that is relatively dramatic. But I think I quite like the elongated bridge, so I'm going to keep that. I was toying with the idea of doing it in sections, so we could have most of this stretch here as earthworks. But instead we'll go for the long viaduct. It looks quite pleasant. And it does add a little bit extra to the scenery out here. Okay. Happy enough with that. I might tweak it somewhat in the future, but it's going to do what we need it to do. Here we have the connections that we need to access the platforms, I believe. Although, do we have a way? No, we don't. So what we want to do is get this track over here without messing up the bridge. There we go. Have that as a double slip switch. And I think that now, if I set it up right off camera, means we are good to go. But we'll find out when we set the line up if it starts to complain. So that's that section taken care of. Now it's a case of running over towards Bottrel. This should be relatively straightforward compared to what we just had to do there. So again, we'll run out nice and flat. That gives us, as I said, the chance to expand our platform size if needed. Is that straight? It is, but it's obviously decreasing in elevation. We don't want that. That will do, I think. We shall see. Time will tell. And then all of this wants to come over into our main line here. Like so. Now this does mean the slip switch, the diamond, is going to be set relatively far back from the station. But that's the way it's got to be. That's all fine. Now we can just run over towards Bottrel. Which way are we facing? So we want to swing to the right and then back into the left. We have plenty of space here, so we can do this at good, well, top speed, as we can see, 186. Hopefully the inner track, which has the tighter radius, is the same, and indeed it is. If I can get the track to connect to the right place, there we go. And now we want to swing leftwards towards the station. This might have some speed reduction. Let's see what it does for us. Obviously, we've got the speed reduction costs of the stone bridge. Again, I quite like the elongated viaduct. Obviously, we have the speed reduction because of the bridge. That's unavoidable. But in terms of the radius speed, it's not that bad at all. So again, we can have fairly rapid trains down here without any unnecessary slowdown. Actually, off camera, what I will do is paint over the middle line of all of these tracks to get rid of the grass. I'll just use the ballast paint tool to hide that, make it look like it's a busy line. And now we want the usual setup for cross-platform connectivity. And now from this point, it's running out towards Cochrane. So let us do that. And again, I think we'll do what we did previously, where we take the hit, as it were, on our speed early on, and then we can just run it relatively straight to connect in and rebuild that lost speed because of this tight radius here. Let's see if we can get this set up nicely on the bridge. Yes, we can. And from here on out, we're not quite lined up, but we're lined up enough that I think we should be able to do this at max speed. Well, we will be able to if we get rid of that bridge. Let's see. Yes, max speed throughout. Excellent. So then, join this up. And there we go. Do we need a diamond over here? No, we already have one. Do we have any spare platforms out here? Yes, we do. Platform number 3. So that's all set up and ready to go. So all that's needed now in terms of the rail infrastructure are this series of signals from Cochrane out to Chestermere. So I'll quickly do that and we'll pick it back up once the signals are in place. Okay, so I've done all the signal work on the new lines that we've just put in position. The other thing I will do in terms of rail infrastructure is actually put a new depot out here as well. That way we can get our trains onto this new passenger line without interrupting our freight lines in the area. So we'll put the depot right out here, really out of the way, and we'll get it connected in. One heading in that direction there, and then one coming out in this direction here. And then we'll put a set of one-way signals just before they merge into the main line. That way the passing trains on the main line should take priority over the emerging trains from the depot. Right, so that's all taken care of. We now need to do the street infrastructure, so the tracks that we've just, so the stations I should say, that we've just constructed are actually usable by our citizens. That's not how I want that at all. Let's see, is that better? How does that look? That looks better. So we'll have that across the front there, and then we can just quite simply connect in. Not like that, we can't. Quite simply connect into the existing road infrastructure in Bottrel like so. We'll do the same for all the other stations, and then obviously once they're taken care of, the next thing we need to do is get some inner city transportation systems set up so the residents actually have direct access to the station. And that will take the form of either bus or tram. I guess it really depends on the size of the city nearby. For example, the Airdrie hub will probably want to use a metro system. What do we have here? The Douglas DC3, the Zurich, the 442 Hiawatha, Opel Blitz trucks, and the Streamline Coach New Mexico. Okay, so that's another handful of goodies we need to check out in the very near future. We might not get the opportunity to have a good look at them all in this episode, but we can at least have a look at some of them. Obviously the Hiawathas and the Zephyrs that we unlocked a couple of moments ago, we definitely want to have a look at, and we'll probably use them on these new lines that we're setting up. We are setting up several lines here. Obviously the main Bottrel to Chestermere line, and then we have the connection line from Airdrie into Calgary, and then the connection from Bottrel into Cochrane. So the fact that we're having two connections and a main passenger line, if you will, does mean we have the opportunity to use both types of train there, the Hiawathas and the Zephyrs. But we need to first of all get these stations sorted out. So for Bottrel, it's only a small town. I don't have many plans and intentions on growing this or supplying it with the required goods. And if I do, it's only going to be as a token gesture rather than an effort to make it into some sort of mega city. So we'll just use a bus service out here, I think. And we'll have it do a simple clockwise and then counterclockwise loop through Bottrel. So like that, and then we want to mirror that for the opposite direction. So then we're coming this way and then retracing our steps but in reverse. And that should be enough for the town of Bottrel. That gives us pretty much blanket coverage throughout the town, and it makes sure our passengers can get in and out of the station with relative ease. We're going to want a road depot, obviously, and we'll set it out of town. We'll put it up here by this oil well. Just there. So now let's get this first bus line set up. You can have the burgundy colour, that's fine. So then, just trying to remember which way around I'd planned for this to go. I've missed a station there. There we go. Is that right? Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then carry on. So this way. Okay, so you're going to need a waypoint, are you? No problem. We'll just put one on each side there. So after Hillcrest Street, you're coming that way. So this is bus service. Is it double TEL? I think so. Let's check. It is. And I've now lost it because it's ordered itself alphabetically. Where's it gone? There it is. Bottrel 01. Another new line. You can have the pink colour. Does not want to let me click that station icon. I guess it's because the nameplate for the town is too close and it's messing about with it. Anyway, there we go. And this is bus service Bottrel 02. So now we can buy a handful of buses. I think we'll have, shall we say, 6 per bus route. So that'll be 12 in total. So let's buy them now. Passenger Schneiders, 12, 1.1 million. We want the first 6, if I can click correctly. And they had this, was it that brown colour? We had brown and pink, so I'm guessing it was... Or was it that and... I don't know. We'll go for that anyway, whatever. So you are on... Can't see the line. Bus service Bottrel 01. You're the pink. And you're going 02. It's a different shade of pink, so I'll just quickly change it while I have the screen open. There we go. So that's that done. We have connection up here already, so Cochrane's fine. Out here at Airdrie, I say we'll have this as an electrified tram line. It is, well, it's intended to be a major hub. Whether it actually develops that way or not remains to be seen. So what we'll do, we shall use the upgrade tool. Tram tracks. Catenary, yes. And then just have a simple tram loop around here, although they are going to interfere with our truck unload point there, but that's so be it. Fair enough. We can rearrange that later if we need to. And then we'll have a series of stops again, clockwise and counterclockwise throughout. So we'll double them up as we go through. Given that this is a tram service, we don't want to have as many stops as we would with a bus service. But we also want to ensure we have decent coverage. There we go, that should be more than enough. So let's set up this line. In fact, no, we will keep the pink because it's far away from the other pink that we've just set up. There we go. And this is, did we call these metros? I think we do. Metro service, or just metro. I'll check and then rename if needed. And this is Airdrie 01. Let's just verify that if we only have the ones. In fact, no, that's not what we want. There we go. Yeah, it is just metro, not metro service. So then another new line, a purple colour. Very well. Why are you heading down there? That's not electrified. Is that electrified? Yes, it is. Did I electrify down here? No. Not sure. I think it will correct itself. At least I hope it will. Once we assign the trams to it. So this is Metro Airdrie 02. There we go. We want the tram station, tram depot. And we'll set this back up here. And we'll set it away so once we connect it in, if it does start dropping in some silly traffic lights, we can get rid of them ourselves. Has it put traffic lights down? No, it hasn't, so never mind. I think we'll go for 8 total for each line. So that's not the trams I wanted, so sell all those. Let's try that again. We want the P to widths, thank you very much. Again, 8 in total, 4 per line. So the first were that colour. Doesn't really matter, does it, I suppose? And then it was this sort of purple colour, wasn't it? And again, it doesn't have to be spot on. As long as we can easily distinguish between the two, which we're going to be able to. So that's that. Irricana. It's a fairly large town, so I think we'll go for the trams again. So again, let's go for the upgrade tool and just lay through a tram line through the town. And which way do we want to take this? Well, this one wants to go straight up here through what seems to be the main street. And then we'll have it swing down this way. Yep, that will work for me. Like so. So now we want to put down the bus stops, or the tram stops, I suppose they technically are. And just, again, don't want to overload it with them, but we want to make sure we have decent enough coverage. They're a bit superfluous, but hopefully the town will start growing with these new connections. And then perhaps we'll just have one more just on between those two junctions there. And obviously we need them outside the station, that's the whole point. So again, nice and quick here. That's 1, and this is Metro Irricana 01. And then Metro Irricana 02. I will change this colour because it's probably just a fraction too similar. And we'll go for a nice dark blue. That gives us decent contrast. And this is 02, like that. Where have they gone? There they are. We need the depot. Where are you? There you are. And again, we'll set it up out here. And again, just on the off chance it does drop in some traffic lights, we'll set it back, although it hasn't. So again, didn't need to do that, but you never know. Again, we'll go for 8, which will mean 4 per each line. So you can be the purple onto number 2. You guys can be the pink onto number 1. And that's that handled. Lastly, Chestermere, small town. I think we'll revert back to a bus service for this one. But again, we'll do the same where we have a clockwise, counterclockwise option. This is a small town compared to some of them, isn't it? So don't even need that many stops out this way. I think we'll put one more just here just to encourage the buses to take the right direction, which they should do anyway. And again, nice and simple now. That's better. I've missed a stop there, haven't I? That one. Again, I think the nameplate was a bit too close. Is that all the stations accounted for? I believe it is. Why are you doing that? That just doesn't make any sense. So be it. Waypoints it is. So after Meadow Street, you're coming that way, please. Thank you very much. And this will be bus service Chestermere, I believe it is. Yes, it is. It's right there on the screen if I care to look. 01. And then in reverse, so going this way out. Is that all the stations accounted for? Yes, it is. Don't need the little squiggle there. I can never remember what the proper name for it is. I'm sure it's not little squiggle, but it doesn't really matter. Anyway, there we go. That's the 2 lines. So what do we want? We want a bus depot, don't we? Yes. A road depot, I should say. You can just sit out here. Try and get it relatively straight on. That'll do. Again, not too many buses required. I think I might go for 10, so 5 each. So we've got light pink for number 1. And then, is it that purplish? I guess so, for number 2. Okay, obviously we do have the connection in terms of transport for Calgary already, so don't need to worry about that. So now we can get the train lines signed up. So, we're starting in Chestermere. We are heading to Irricana Central. I'll rename the stations, probably off camera, just so they only have the town name and nothing else. And then we're heading back the way. I clicked a bus stop. What a silly bugger. That's better. And then back out to Chestermere. Why aren't you... Oh, so that's why. That's better. So, what platform assignments are we going for here? Obviously, that's a single platform, so it doesn't really matter about that one. I'd guess here we're going to be better served having that use platform 2 like that. And out here it's switching around anyway, so that's, again, not really relevant. That will do. Let's just, in fact, we will just filter them so we're not hunting for the line. In terms of a name for this run, if we go Intercity Shuttle Alberta, because there's too many towns to list them all, and we'll just call it that. Why not? So that's that. So for this one, shall we have the Hiawatha? Oh, that's only 99 miles per hour. The Pioneer Zephyr then. So we'll add that. That has a capacity of 52, but we did unlock the Streamline New Mexicos, which I think are roughly the same as those, a little different visually, but that does drop the speed to 93. Maybe I'll keep it as a 52 capacity, but have several of them, say 6. We'll do that for now, and we can always tweak that in the future if it's not good enough. But that's that. Now we want to do the 2 connections from Bottrel to Cochrane, and then obviously from Airdrie out to Calgary. So since we're over here, we'll do this one first. So we're going from Bottrel to Cochrane. Please don't share the platform, however. Can you go... Oh god, what have I done there? That's gone horribly wrong. Chestermere, Irricana, Airdrie. Airdrie, Bottrel, Airdrie. Okay. That's better. That's correct. Yes. New line, please. There we go. That's better. Now here, please use platform 3 so you're out of the way of everything else. Spinning very quickly there. Make myself a bit seasick. Different platform there. Yep, brilliant. No problem with that. And this will be the Intercity Shuttle from Bottrel to Cochrane. We'll have a different colour. That's very, very samey, isn't it? We'll go for this pea teal sort of green, if it would actually let me change it. There we go. A nice, yeah, teal sort of colour will do for that. Now we can get the trains purchased for that little run. This time I think we'll go for the Hiawatha. It's probably a little overkill, but why the hell not? Just so it's on the network immediately. If I can click the right thing, that'd make this go a hell of a lot nicer. And I think we'll go, again, relatively small capacity of 54 passengers. And for starting off, we'll just go for 2 trains. So you are going on to the intercity shuttle from Bottrel to Cochrane. And then the last line we want to set up is a connection into Calgary. So we're going from Airdrie Halt, aka just Airdrie eventually. Are you using a disparate? Yep, you're using a separate platform. Brilliant. Over in Calgary, no, please don't use that platform. Can you use platform number 6 without incident? Yes, you can. And you're using the new tracks as intended as well, which is great. And then this is your intercity shuttle. And this is Airdrie, Calgary. There we go. Now we need the trains. Again, shall we go for the Hiawathas for this? Passenger wagons, streamlined coach New Mexico's. And again, we'll start off relatively modest and adjust it as needed as time progresses. And there we go. So that's a new passenger network set up. Connections into our major hubs at Calgary and whatnot, as well as the hub for the Rocky Mountain Railway as well. I think what we will do, since we've unlocked the, the highest speed coaches, is we shall actually take a look at them on our Rocky Mountain Railway, if we can find one of them. Here we go, here's Marshall's. Let's go to Manage Vehicle. We want to select all of them. So we have the Alejandra, the Marshalls, and the Peter Ray. Edit them all. So, in terms of locos, you have the MILW, 75 miles per hour. Shall we... Oh, 76 capacity, okay. That does 99 miles an hour. That does 110 miles an hour. But it does have smaller capacity. I'm thinking we swap these for the Zephyrs. If we just do that. The problem with that is the Alejandra would lose the mixed colour scheme. Because I'm also reluctant to add any extra passenger wagons on. Because that drops its speed down to 93. Although we could use a heavyweight parlour. Oh, okay, so yes, the New Mexico is slower and reduced capacity, okay. Well, what if we mix it up with the heavyweight parlours? How... You only get up to 48 miles an hour, so you're not as good on the gradient changes, which, given that this is a mountain railway, is pretty critical. Okay, so I think in that case, the Rocky Mountain Railway shall remain unchanged. However, we may swap out our trains on the Alberta Regional Railway for the Zephyrs or the Hiawathas. See, that gives us a lot more speed. We are losing 8 carry capacity, however. But it is faster across the board on all the gradients, although its acceleration isn't great. I think we'll do it anyway. And we'll even colour these as well. So we'll modify them. We'll colour them that colour, although I don't think it's actually made much change at all, if any. I think it's... No, it doesn't seem to have, so that's fair enough. But since we've unlocked them, it would be nice to actually use them, and I think they do suit this sort of stopping service that we have out here. So, yes, that's the point actually. These do have the custom train name printed on them, so It would have been nice to see them on the Rocky Mountain Railway, where we have custom named trains for some of our viewers. So that's there we go. That's one to think about, isn't it? But that we can address in the future. The other train I'd like to have a look at is obviously the Hiawathas, if any of them have left. Indeed, some have. So here's the 442 Hiawatha, the Middle East Road. Let's just hop on board, so to speak, and have an... Oh, that was a good time in there, just to see the Zephyr trundling past. I think what we'll do is we'll wrap it up here as well. We've expanded our passenger network quite nicely. We've already got very nice pickup over in Airdrie, as we can see. Not too bad in Bottrel. People heading out from Cochrane to Bottrel as well. Very, very nice pickup here in Irricana. I suppose it is a relatively large town, and it does have some of its goods being supplied, the tools, so that's understandable. And even not too bad a showing out here in Chestermere, which for a town that doesn't have any cargo supply is very pleasing indeed. So that all says to me that this should be a decent and profitable line. But as said, we'll leave it here for today, I think, folks. I hope you've enjoyed this one. As always, future comments are welcome. Suggestions, tips, feedbacks, requests to name trains, anything like that. If you have any ideas or feedback and whatnot in regards to upgrading our Rocky Mountain Railway lines, the trains I should say, again, I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. But other than that, all that remains for me to say, as always, ladies and gentlemen, is take very good care of yourselves. It's ta-ta for now.